So what essentially happened is that on July 7th, 2026, Coty agreed to return the Gucci beauty license to Kering roughly a year ahead of schedule for about $400 million. Now, read this as a beauty story, it's a distressed licensor raising cash. But read this as a capital market story, which is how it should be read. It is a second leg of a transaction that we've already covered, the deliberate paid for delivery of one of luxury's most valuable scent franchises into L'Oreal's 50-year vault. Kering does not want the license, it's the courier out here. It continues to operate the brand through at least 30th of June 2027 so that the license reverts back a year before its original 2028 expiry. The tell out here is who is paying. Kering exited Coty in October 2025. It has no operating use for a fragrance license. It is buying the license back early only to hand it onward sooner and cleaner to L'Oreal under the last year's agreement. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to this combined episode of Business of Luxury series as well as Capital Insight series. And today we are going to focus on Gucci, Kering, Coty and L'Oreal. This is going to be about the Gucci beauty handoff, Coty's distressed exit as well as L'Oreal's license consolidation. So what essentially happened is that on July 7th, 2026, Coty agreed to return the Gucci beauty license to Kering roughly a year ahead of schedule for about $400 million. Now, read this as a beauty story, it's a distressed licensor raising cash. But read this as a capital market story, which is how it should be read. It is a second leg of a transaction that we've already covered, the deliberate paid for delivery of one of luxury's most valuable scent franchises into L'Oreal's 50-year vault. Kering does not want the license, it's the courier out here. Let's talk about the handoff in detail. The mechanics are pretty clean. Coty received $250 million in cash at signing and will receive a further $150 million no later than 30th September 2027, of which up to $30 million is contingent on transaction criteria. Coty also sells its remaining Gucci beauty inventory to Kering and expects roughly $30 million in cash taxes. It continues to operate the brand through at least 30th of June 2027 so that the license reverts back a year before its original 2028 expiry. The tell out here is who is paying. Kering exited Coty in October 2025. It has no operating use for a fragrance license. It is buying the license back early only to hand it onward sooner and cleaner to L'Oreal under the last year's agreement. The agreement has already granted L'Oreal the long-term Gucci beauty rights once Coty's contract expires. Kering is a pass-through out here, spending $400 million to compress the timeline and de-risk the handover it has already sold. Next, let's talk about license as an instrument out here. Now, a luxury beauty license is not a product line. It's a timed financial claim. The house owns the name and takes a royalty. The licensee operator funds the capex, distribution, and working capital and keeps the operating margin for the term. A forward buyer can acquire the rights to that stream before it is even vacant. Coty acquired the Gucci license in 2016 and grew the business more than 60% since 2019. Flora, Bloom, Guilty, Alchemist, Garden are real cash-generative franchises, and it is still handing them back. Now that is the instrument logic at work. To a distressed holder, the license is worth more as monetizable time than as an operation carried to term. The $400 million is not a price for business. It is the present value of surrendering 12 months of contract plus inventory. Now, the same asset can be a growth engine to one owner and a liquidity lever to another without a single bottle changing on the shelves. Now, this is a power line to our brand IP Financialization work that we've already shared with our viewers before, where the royalty books trade as synthetic fixed income rather than as businesses. Next, let's focus on Coty's weekend as well as L'Oreal's terminal consolidation. When we are talking about Coty, the seller's position explains the timing. Coty shares have lost more than 80% of their value since the start of 2024, battered by soft mass market demand and a leadership transition. Since September of 2025, the company has been running a strategic review of its consumer beauty business that could see CoverGirl and Rimmel sold. Against that particular backdrop, the Gucci proceeds are explicitly earmarked for debt reduction and reinvestment into core prestige brands, for example, Boss as well as Marc Jacobs. For a forced seller, surrendering a growing license a year early at a discount to its run-off value is rational. Cash today outranks operating income tomorrow when the balance sheet is the binding constraint. That is the uncomfortable elegance of the deal. Coty is selling exactly the asset that it grew because the asset it grew is the one with clean, willing forward buyer. Next, let's turn our attention to L'Oreal, the terminal consolidator out here. L'Oreal is the reason that music is playing. Under Nicholas Hieronymus, the main doctrine has been to secure iconic beauty and fragrance rights on multi-decade horizons and remove them from the open merger and acquisition market. The October 2025 Kering deal, which was 4 billion euros, its largest ever, eclipsing Aesop, bought Creed outright, plus 50-year exclusive licenses across Bottega Veneta, Balenciaga, and on expiry Gucci. Pulling Gucci beauty forward by a year simply starts the compounding sooner. For a business of luxury readers and viewers, this is a quieter structural shift. The beauty of a maison, the scent that is often a customer's first and cheapest entry into the brand, is being consolidated under a single industrial operator on a 50-year license. The YSL beauty precedent is the template Kering itself invokes, a couture name whose fragrance arm became a global powerhouse under L'Oreal stewardship. Gucci is being routed to the same machine. This is essentially control of a house beauty. Once it was a strategic option and now it is becoming half a century commitment. Let's wrap up this video with the read for allocators out here. Now for our Capital Insights viewers and readers, there are 3 signals that are worth noting. First and foremost, luxury financialization is now visible at the license layer. Brand rights change hands as timed instruments with value accruing to the consolidator that owns distribution scale rather than to the house or the operator. Secondly, Coty's move is a distress still in prestige beauty. Watch its consumer division review for the next post-monetization and treat the other second-tier license holders as potential early wind operations. Thirdly, L'Oreal's lockup strategy narrows the field of acquirable luxury beauty assets, which should support the scarcity premium on the few that remain independent. Now, the handoff looks like a small technical license reversion. It's better understood as a $400 million per-year fee paid to accelerate the consolidation of luxury beauty into one balance sheet, and as a clean illustration of how Maison Scent has quietly become a capital markets asset. That's all I wanted to share with you in this video. Stay tuned in for our next one.